They were laughed at, silenced, even burned at the stake. Their ideas threatened entire industries, challenged governments, and made the world uncomfortable. But one by one, the world caught up. This isn't just a list of bold thinkers, it's a warning. The truth doesn't always arrive politely. Sometimes it shows up dressed as madness. Welcome to Mind-Blowing Facts, where we uncover the minds the world tried to erase. In today's episode, we dive into 25 historical figures who were dismissed as insane, dangerous, or delusional, yet turned out to be absolutely right. They weren't just misunderstood, they were ahead of their time, and their stories may change the way you see genius forever. Let's begin. Section 1. Scientists who fought the system. 1. Rachel Carson, the woman who took on Big Chemical. In the 1960s, marine biologist Rachel Carson dared to expose a dark truth that a chemical called DDT, widely used across America, was poisoning the environment. For that, the chemical industry tried to ruin her. They attacked her credentials, called her emotional, and tried to block her book, Silent Spring. Today, that book is credited with launching the modern environmental movement. DDT was banned. Carson's madness saved millions of lives, human and otherwise. 2. Dr. Barry Marshall, the man who drank bacteria. In the 1980s, stomach ulcers were blamed on stress and spicy food. But Australian physician Dr. Barry Marshall had a radical theory. The world's ulcers were caused by bacteria. To prove it, he drank a beaker of Helicobacter pylori. Days later, he was violently ill and proved his point. Today, he's a Nobel Prize winner, and ulcers are cured with antibiotics, not guesswork. 3. Louis Pasteur, the father of germ theory. Before him, people believed diseases came from bad air or were simply curses. Pasteur said it was tiny, invisible organisms causing illness and was mocked for it. But after developing vaccines for rabies and anthrax, he didn't just earn respect. He rewrote the playbook for all of modern medicine. 4. Dr. Ignaz Semmelweis, the tragedy of clean hands. In 1847, this Hungarian doctor told his colleagues to wash their hands before surgery. They laughed in his face. Deaths kept rising. He kept insisting. They called him unstable, locked him in an asylum, where he died, beaten by guards. Years later, his idea would evolve into germ theory. The man who begged doctors to wash their hands was right, and the cost of ignoring him was blood. 5. Claire Patterson, the man who fought lead poisoning. Geochemist Claire Patterson dated the Earth to 4.5 billion years old, but that wasn't his real battle. He found lead everywhere, in air, food, gasoline, and he said it was slowly killing us. The industry hit back hard, but Patterson didn't stop. His work helped pass the Clean Air Act, and today, lead exposure in the US has dropped by 94%. Section 2. Visionaries who saw the future. 6. Alfred Wegener, the continental drift guy. In 1912, Wegener said all continents were once one giant landmass, Pangaea. Geologists laughed him off the planet. But decades later, when ocean floors were mapped and tectonic plates were discovered, his crazy theory became geological law. 7. Giordano Bruno, the martyr of the infinite universe. In the 1500s, Bruno proposed something wild, that the universe was infinite and full of stars like our sun. The church didn't like that, at all. He was imprisoned, tortured, and burned alive in 1600. Centuries later, the Hubble telescope confirmed what Bruno saw without ever seeing: an infinite, expanding universe. 8. Aristarchus of Samos, the OG heliocentrist. Almost 2,000 years before Galileo, Aristarchus suggested that the Earth orbits the Sun. The idea was so insane to his peers that no one took him seriously, until 1900 years later, when science caught up. 9. Robert Goddard, the rocket man nobody believed. In the 1920s, Goddard launched the first liquid-fueled rocket. The press mocked him, officials shrugged. Now, he's credited as the father of modern rocketry. Without him, the space race might never have happened. 10. Jacques Fresco, the man who designed a money-free future. He dreamed of cities without money, war, or poverty, powered by automation and shared resources. They called him delusional. Today, his Venus project still hasn't come true, But with climate collapse, AI, and inequality rising, Fresco's vision is starting to look a lot less crazy. Section 3. Rebels and fighters who warned us. 11. General Billy Mitchell, the man who predicted Pearl Harbor. He said air power would define the next war. The military mocked him and court-martialed him. But when World War II began and Pearl Harbor was bombed from the sky, Mitchell was vindicated. Too late to say, sorry. 12. Kotoku Wamura, the mayor who stopped a tsunami. In the 1960s, he built a giant seawall in Fudai, Japan. People mocked him. It was too expensive, unnecessary. Then, in 2011, a tsunami killed 20,000 people across Japan. In Fudai, just one person died. Every building stood. Wamura's waste of money saved an entire town. 13. Dr. Bennett Omalu, the NFL's worst nightmare. He discovered CTE, brain trauma in football players, and tried to warn the NFL. They attacked him, tried to silence him. Now, there's a movie about him, Concussion, and players are retiring early because of what he found. Section 4. Pioneers of Medicine. 14. Alice Evans, the milk microbiologist. She warned in the 1920s that raw milk could carry deadly bacteria. 15. Barbara McClintock, the woman genes tried to silence. She discovered that genes could jump within DNA. Her peers mocked the idea as nonsense. But in 1983, she won the Nobel Prize. Turns out, her critics just didn't know what DNA could really do. 16. William Coley, the man who fought cancer with bacteria. In the 1890s, a patient's tumor disappeared after a bacterial infection. Dr. Coley thought, what if that's the key? He began injecting tumors with bacteria. The medical world called him reckless. Today, he's remembered as the father of immunotherapy, a billion-dollar cancer treatment. 17. Jon Snow, the man who traced cholera to water, not the Game of Thrones one, the doctor. In the 1800s, Snow found that cholera spread through dirty water, not air. He was ignored until a cholera outbreak hit Parliament during the Great Stink of 1858. Funny how the rich get serious when it hits their front door. 18. Joseph Lister, clean surgeries. Finally. He introduced antiseptic techniques in surgery. Other doctors said it was too slow and unnecessary. Within a few years, the death rate from surgery dropped from 45% to just 15%. Mad? Or just right? 19. Eric the Red, the Viking who found Greenland. Banished from Iceland for murder, Eric set sail west. Everyone called him mad. He discovered Greenland and convinced thousands to follow him. Exile turned to empire. 20. Wright brothers. Flying is a joke, they said. In 1903, Orville and Wilbur proved man could fly. Most newspapers didn't even report it. But after Europe showed interest, the US military changed its tune fast. 21. Dr. Robert Atkins, the diet rebel. He was ridiculed for saying fat wasn't the enemy. Sugar and carbs were. Decades later, keto and low-carb diets dominate. Turns out, he wasn't peddling a fad. He was years early. 22. Lynn Margulis, the woman who changed evolution. She said cells evolved by merging, not just mutating. Rejected by 15 journals. Now, her theory is taught in biology classes worldwide. 23. William Harvey, heartbeats and blood flow. In 1628, he said blood circulates in a loop, pumped by the heart. People thought he was insane. Today, it's the first thing medical students learn. 24. Marcello Malpighi, capillaries and broken bones. His discovery of capillaries challenged accepted science and nearly got him killed. He was beaten, his house burned. Now he's called the father of microscopic anatomy. 25. Philippa Langley, the psychic who found a king. She claims she felt Richard III was buried under a parking lot. They laughed. She dug, and she found him. They were mocked, rejected, forgotten. But they weren't crazy, just early. Let this video be your reminder. The world doesn't always recognize truth on time. Genius often looks like madness, until it wins. So the next time you hear an idea that sounds too bold, too strange, too uncomfortable, don't dismiss it. It might just be the beginning of something the world isn't ready for yet. Like, share, and subscribe if this inspired you. And remember, History doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme.